So today I want to actually just speak about a few experiences I've had lately dealing with old fucks, with these slimy old fucks. So I've just been watching a few videos on the debate between. Well, I was watching the debate between Clav and Piers Morgan, and then I watched the one between Morgan and what's his name, the Mexican one, the gay Mexican, Fuentes, another controlled opposition fuck. Anyway, but these old people, bro, they don't want to see your point. They don't want to ever, they all they want is for you to kneel and grovel and be wrong in their eyes. They're never arguing in good faith. They're always arguing in bad faith, and it's always from a point that you are lesser and lower than them because you're younger, because you don't have quote unquote life experience, which is bullshit. I would say a lot of young people have more life experience now than old people. Maybe not in the sense that that when I was a boy I went into this and this, like none of that shit. But you've lived in this world of lies, if you're awake, and you've seen, the traitors everywhere. You've seen all these patterns, shall we say. If you've seen all that, you have more life experience, and also you'll have your day to day on average will be harder than theirs because they live in a different world, man. Now, I don't know if I've said this before, but there was one day, because I don't live in my home country anymore. I had to leave because of boomer faggotry. I'll probably have to cut that. But I had to leave my country, basically, because slimy old fucks did nothing. They did not resist, so now we're all displaced, even them. But basically, they still don't see it, man. They still don't see how they've ruined their kids' futures, and they still don't see how they've created this world we have to live in, and they just browbeat all the time. Oh, you need to work harder, you need to do this, oh, whatever, dude. But yeah. So I was gonna say that I don't know if I said this in a previous video, but there was one day I was walking down the street. I'd got some shopping just for a bit of exercise, so I walked up, and then on my way home I walked past these rows of houses, and I swear to God, bro, right? I can't help, but if you don't have your curtains closed, I'm gonna look in your windows. Like, close your fucking curtains. Anyway, like 4 out of the 5 houses, like along this row, were all watching the same TV show. Like all of them, dude. And the way I was walking down, even the living rooms were kind of arranged so the TV was in like the left corner, so you could see what they're watching. And they're all watching like Tipping Point. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, how can these people have so-called opinions, like a separate opinion, when they all had the same? Like, I've never heard a differing opinion from an old fuck. Never, ever. And I've never heard like an argument made where they are trying to debate. It's just like a browbeat session because, oh, we know better because we're older or whatever. So this is some advice for young guys. Never ever listen to a slimy old fuck, right? Because their lives were so good. They could do anything, man. They could literally like get in fights without going to prison. Like, I've been in a fight, I almost had to go to prison, right? They can do whatever. Like, they live in a different world, okay? A completely separate world. Now, there's a book I read a long time ago, Clockwork Orange. Now, a lot of people seen the movie. I've seen the movie also, but I read the book. One of my favorite books. I read it like 3 times. But one of the things that stuck out to me is whenever Alex, the main character, he's walking like in the street. So basically, the situation is thus. So the elderly people in the story are kind of like removed from the youth who have become barbaric and violent, and they live in like separate worlds in a way. Like whenever it's nighttime, the old people are inside and the young people are outside, like causing havoc, and old people are inside kind of doing whatever. But there's a part where he's basically walking down the street, kind of similar to what I was doing, and he was watching how all the old people were all just absorbing the magic box propaganda, like with no, their frontal lobes completely suspended. And he's basically saying how, like, what I'm saying, they live in a different world. They live in a totally different world. So as a young guy, don't take no advice ever from an old person unless they've had extraordinary lives, and it's very, very like a very much minority of people like that. Let's say like 50 plus, because they grew up in the times of plenty, right? They grew up in a want-based economy. We're now in the 21st century, which is now a needs-based economy. So, like, I don't have a lot of money. I only have money to basically get my food and whatever else I need. I don't earn a lot of money, right? And even no matter how fucking hard I work, and I work damn hard in my 20s, I was only able to get like a molecule of what these old people could get working a single job 30 hours a week, right? But they'll still tell you to work harder, not seeing that things are simply different. So by that logic and from that evidence, I learned, probably too late, but from like about 25, you can't trust them. And they're all money hungry Moloch worshippers, okay? They only care about their money. They don't care about their kids. They don't give a shit about no one but their money and their shit and their things, right? Like, you go to a boomer, right? Like, I worked a few odd jobs for boomers. Even some Gen Xers, they're like 50-50 cringe. And one of them was I had to like plaster the door because the hoarder pretty much is like knocking holes in the wall or whatever, and also in the door. So I went over to plaster it, and he's like, "Oh, you need to move all this stuff to this side of the room before you do that." I'm thinking to myself, "Like that, I'll come back. You move it, I'll come back, and then I'll get to work." And then they try to argue with like the price and all. I'm just like, nah, you pay me, right? You pay me, and this is the thing. I don't want them to get off and get out of this world not suffering as we are going to and have. So do whatever you can to get what you can from these people. Now, I'm not advocating for anything like illegal, but you know what I'm saying. Lie, cheat, do whatever, because you're not going to have it, dude. You're not going to have the life they had. You're never going to have that. None of us are. The years go by, and it doesn't matter who comes into power. Like all these boom retards are now trying to vote for this guy called Rupert Lowe or Lau or whatever. And it's the same. It was the same thing with Trump, man. So whenever the people need a hero, they will present him. If you know what I'm talking about, okay? So things are getting tough. Things are getting tough for the boomies. So, you know, the pensions aren't as high, and the winter fuel payment's gone, and a lot of these other things are disappearing. And you know, they're in trouble now. The boomtards, you know, they're very much feeling their heat. Not like us, obviously. Like we're fucked as a generation. Like if you're under the age of 40, you're fucked, man. You're fucked. You're gonna live in a world, a deracinated economic zone, a globalized deracinated economic zone, competing for like scraps with the whole world. Also, that boomtards can stick it out a few years longer, right? And buy useless crap. That's all going in the bin. Like, I love my grandparents. They're kind of unique in the situation, is that they did have hard lives. And my granddad in particular had a very tough life, but he pulled himself out. But even he admits, like, he didn't do that much, you know? He didn't even work that hard. He told me straight up, you know, I've worked harder than him in my life. Like, for like 4 years of my life, I worked 7 days a week. 7 days a week, 70 hours. And at that time, the minimum wage was like £5.80. All I had money for was the rent, my car insurance, and food. I had and the gym membership, my phone. That was it. I had fucking nothing. I was literally scraping pennies together. to get money. While these old people, they get it all, man. They get everything pretty much just handed to them. You know, they complain, they get it. You want to know why? It's because they're the largest demographic out there. So what I do now is I just I always keep it in my head that you don't be nice to these people, and don't sacrifice or give up your time or give up your energy or give up your money, because they had a great youth. They had a great life, like an amazing life, bro. Like imagine being born in the 60s or the 70s, okay, and living through the 80s. Now, I think the 80s were a bit cringe, to be honest, and that's where a lot of the like propaganda like really kicked in, like this whole Miami Vice and, you know, all this shit and fag wars, Star Wars, whatever. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but basically, dude, like even at that time, you could have a family, man. You could get a job. You know, you weren't competing with Vishnu Sanranjit from like across the globe who's scamming your granny, right? Who your granny fucking falls for it too, because she's retarded and old. And then when they die, you're left in this hell world, being deselected because of your skin, because identity is everything now. Looks, identity, it's everything now, right? And shall we say your like demographic class, just to like all encompass it. So if you're like a young white guy, man, you're at the bottom, even in your own society, okay? And a lot of these people think, oh, I'll go to China, I'll go to ever. Man, you'll be at the bottom there too, okay? Because they all hate us because they ain't us. That's a fact that I've known in South Africa, and since I was like yay high, I knew these things, right? And they'll always be jealous. There's like in the Middle East and like Southeast Asia and stuff like that, there are these whole industries dedicated, like billion-dollar industries dedicated to making your skin whiter and stuff. Okay, for a reason. There's a reason even in like and the times of antiquity, how like the whiter your skin was a sign of class, because it pretty much meant that you weren't in the sun, you did almost no work. Like people used to wear veils, you know, in ancient Egypt, like the pharaohs would wear veils. They wouldn't go outside much. Their skin was pale, and they were Aryan, by the way. They never let someone tell you Cleopatra was black, because she wasn't. She was, you know, the Dorian Greek, okay? It's like, how do you not know these things? People are so dumb. Boomers are so dumb. Old fucks are so dumb. Don't ever listen. Don't ever. If you go out to lunch with your boom bag parents or whatever, they must pay. They must fucking pay, because you don't have the money to waste on that, because you gotta focus now on many things like looks maxing or whatever. If you want to even attract a woman the 10th of the quality of your gran, you know, you need you know, like so many gymnastics in the modern world just to keep up. Not to get ahead, just to keep up. And if your parents can't nepo you into jobs or get you jobs, like what the fuck are they for? Like my parents hate me, okay? I was always the black sheep, always the end of the stick, always like, I've spoken a few things about like my upbringing on this channel already. But as I got older, I really seen how like I was handed a fucking shit start, a crap start. And they had a good start, but I was always to blame for everything. Like no matter what it was, even if I tried to do something right, it was still wrong. You know, and now I'm older, I realize that it's because they always just see me as a threat. Okay, at best, you're a subordinate. At worst, you're their competition. And nowadays, you're just competition. Like, right? Like women have it easy as well. Obviously, we all know this. But like as a young guy, you're also competing against guys older than you, like way older, like 40s, 50s, 60s. Because money does talk too. Yes, obviously, you know, looks are the most important thing, but money does talk. Like I see dudes dating like women in my age group who are like way older, okay, who've had like better lives, better economic prosperity, like the times that they lived in, they could accrue wealth better than what we can. And it's like, we are at the bottom, bro. You have to take the rat pill, okay? Like, take the fucking rat pill. Be the rat, okay? Because this is what we are going to end up being. Like, the world is going to become a dog eat dog, but like less than that, because people are lesser now. It's going to be a rat v rat world. And if you aren't ratting, you're getting eaten, okay? You're getting swarmed by the rats. So you better be ratting, my son. You better be ratting every old fuck you see. You better be doing everything you can to get ahead, okay? Now, be smart. Don't be dumb, okay? Think about how you're going to navigate. Now, I don't think you should be an outright psycho and start like cheating people and lying. Like, you should have some form of morality for yourself, not some boom shit imposed, you know, Christian bullshit morality. You should have a morality where what you want to be treated like is how you should be treated others. And if people don't show you that respect, no matter who it is, you match their energy. If people treat you like shit, treat them like shit. People try and lie and cheat you, do the same. Do it with a smile on your face. Do it with the Duchenne smile on your face. All right? And when it comes to slimy old fucks, don't care. Don't give a fuck. All right? That's me. I'm out.